saying, look at this. This is not a natural weather system.
Exactly. And there are literally, this has been on the corporate mainstream media, just not at the level of attention that we believe that it deserves. It's been covered a little bit here, a little bit there. But, you know, something so damaging. I mean, aluminum is so toxic to ecosystems, but also we interviewed a lot of physicians and healthcare professionals, and they said aluminum is extremely toxic to human health. And we've seen, in a 10-year period in L.A. County, we've seen over a 200% increase in Alzheimer's. And at the same time, worldwide, we're seeing an incredible increase in aluminum-related illness.
Well, we're now seeing early onset and even youth, people 25, 30, getting Alzheimer-like symptoms. And then we've had top brain scientists on, like Dr. Blaylock, Russell Blaylock, and they're just seeing it across the board, not just the tin cans we're drinking out of that are coated in bisphenol A that's bad enough. I mean, this is incredible. I mean, this is so big, and it's out in the open now. More and more it's coming out in the open. Give us your breakdown on all of this, Edward Griffin, and the discovery of Monsanto developing these aluminum-resistant seeds.
Well, I certainly have to go along with the general observation that corporations like Monsanto, they're certainly not the only ones in the field. They have buildings full of scientists and marketing experts who are looking for ways to make money using, their expertise, which is geo-engineering. So naturally, we know that they have to be looking at this just from a pure business point of view.
Well, they admit they are.
Yeah, they admit they are. They brag about it, and they tell their stockholders that's what they're doing, and that's on the basis of how they pay dividends and all that sort of thing. I do say, however, that we have to be a little cautious when we talk about this, because these people are not dumb, and what the information they reveal, even in their patents, may not be trustworthy. Because, for example, now I don't want to get too deeply into this, but just to give you an idea of the pitfalls and the minefields that are out there for us, I've been talking with a biochemist recently that's said, well, the kind of aluminum that is in the patent that we're talking about is an aluminum which, believe it or not, is considered to be acidic. Depending on the molecular form of it, there is a form of aluminum that is acidic. At least it's more acidic than other forms, which are clearly in the alkaline range. And he said that if they sprayed that on the soil, it would have the effect of actually preserving the acidic quality of the soil rather than making it alkaline. I said, how can that be? Well, he explained it to me, and he convinced me. He's a scientist. He's a PhD guy. This has been his life work. And I said, oh, I see, because of the cations or the little electron connections, it measures as more acidic. That's right. So we both concluded that, well, that means that what they're spraying may not be what they patented for. It may be something else.
Oh, absolutely. There's hundreds of patents. In fact, I'll show listeners this right here. This is just one of the folders of our research for our chemtrail film. And we know it's a whole bunch of different programs and operations. But here's the $64 million question then to both of you. What type of aluminum do they find on Mount Shasta?
Well, they didn't test for any specific type of aluminum. However, getting back to the patents, I've spoken to a lot of scientists as well. And the concern, while everything that Ed says is truly correct, aluminum can easily be activated because it's a very complex metal. So, while Ed is 100% correct with what he says, there's still that doubt because they are spraying aluminum and it can be activated very easily. So, we don't want to completely rule that out. However, it is something that we're careful
that's the only thing. We just have to be careful. And I might add, just to finish this out, that this fellow I was talking to said, well, there's another aspect to this that has nothing to do with pH. I said, what? Wow, what could that be? He said, well, he said all forms of aluminum tend to inhibit the ability of a plant to uptake moisture. So maybe we're looking at the wrong thing at this pH level. Any form of aluminum will inhibit the plant's ability to uptake moisture. And that's the reason that these seeds have to be genetically modified to deal with the moisture question, not necessarily the pH question. So it gets complicated.
Look, regardless, they've covered up the program. We know the program's real.
Hi, this is Alex Jones. Did you know that the global elite are now storing non-hybrid seeds in secret storage vaults near the Arctic Circle? Did you know that in a real meltdown, non-hybrid seeds can become more valuable than silver or gold? It's true, seeds have outperformed even gold and silver before in this country, and it's possible that could even happen again. So our friends at Solutions from Science have put together the perfect mix of non-hybrid seeds. They call it a survival seed bank, and it can produce an endless supply of nutrient-dense food for you and your family. And here's the best part. These seeds have not been genetically modified in any way, and you actually get enough seeds to plant a full-acre crisis garden. So visit them today at survivalseedbank.com. That's survivalseedbank.com, or give them a call at 877-327-0365. That's 877-327-0365. Remember, in a real crisis, non-hybrid seeds are the ultimate barter item. This is Alex Jones for survivalseedbank.com.
You may be arrested and or subject to other police action.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secretive world of emergency dictatorship. Body scanners, sound cannons, citizen spies, stage terror, and cameras on every street corner. It's only the beginning of the New World Order's hellish plan. The police state isn't coming. It's here. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or see it online in the highest quality at prisonplanet.tv.
On the average, Americans work between 45 to 50 years, hoping to build up enough wealth to retire and live out their golden years. Unfortunately, with taxation, the rising cost of food, energy, housing, and medical, many retirees are forced to live below the poverty line. Is this a flaw of free enterprise, or is our monetary unit we call the Federal Reserve Note forcing us into perpetual debt, ensuring inflation and higher taxes? These questions and more can be answered by reading G. Edward Griffin's book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. Congressman Ron Paul states it's what every American needs to know about central bank power. A gripping adventure into the secret world of international banking cartel. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I will give a silver dollar from the early 1900s to anyone who purchases this book. Call 1-800-686-2237 and order a copy today. It's critical that the public be made aware of the system. Call and order your copy today at 1-800-686-2237. That's 1-800-686-2237.
What is a wind generator?
How can the wind produce power for a small cabin?
How can wind energy be stored and used during an emergency?
Can I assemble my own wind generator?
For answers to questions about wind power, visit windbluepower.com. Did you know the wind could provide your family with emergency power? It can with a wind generator from windbluepower.com. Learn how our amazing LightBreeze wind generator kits start charging a 12-volt battery and just 6 mile-per-hour wind. Or see the new Cyclone X2 dual kit featuring 2 wind generators on just 1 tower. And learn why schools and universities across the country utilize our products to teach about wind power and alternative energy at windbluepower.com. All kits qualify for a 30% IRS tax credit for residential energy efficient property. Enter coupon code RADIO for a 5% discount at windbluepower.com. That's windbluepower.com or call 800-976-0026. That's 800-976-0026.
Okay, Michael, Woody, Mark, Leslie, and others, your calls are coming up in the next segment. We have Michael J. Murphy, one of the producers and directors of What in the World Are They Spraying, the powerful new film. We have the interview we did in person with G. Edward Griffin last week, mixed into a new trailer up at Infowars.com and prisonplanet.com for What in the World Are They Spraying. We premiered that earlier in the last hour. Here's this giant folder I've got. While they're talking, I'm going to be flipping through it. We've got a giant section on patents, including something I've never seen anybody cover, for mixing aluminum dioxide and things with jet fuel to disperse it. I mean, this is incredible. And this is just one small folder, even though it's about 4 inches tall, of all of this garbage that's going on. And I think what G. Edward Griffin said is absolutely accurate. We don't know the larger operation. We just know that old-timers did test and said it's aluminum dioxide, barium salts, and other things. And now they admit, oh, we want to do test with this to spray from jets. I mean, it's exactly what the old-timers analyzed it to be. And we know there's a weather modification, an over-the-horizon radar use of this. I mean, there's a lot of things going on here, G. Edward Griffin.
Well, that's right, and it's enough to make your head spin, and sometimes I think that's not to our advantage. We cover too much, and people get in overload, and they tend to just drop away because they can't hold it all up there the first time around. But I think the bottom line, and the thing to keep really focused on, is that the evidence is now overwhelming that they are dumping toxic stuff on us. They're spraying toxic stuff on us, supposedly for our own good. And to make matters worse, they're lying about it. That's all we really need to know before we ought to be energized into action with that information. Whether we understand all of the rest of this is, it's almost secondary. They're spraying us, they're killing us, they're making us sick, and they're lying to us about it.
That's right. I remember about 5 years ago, a caller called the show, and because you don't know the term to search for. We had a lot of government documents about weather modification and chemtrailing, but nothing. We have like 1,000 times now. I mean, I'm buried in it to my neck. And the caller said, Alex, search indirect and semi-direct aerosol campaign, indirect and semi-direct aerosol campaign, and you'll find it all. And I magically put it into Google, and it was tens of thousands of governments, universities, Department of Energy, and it was just a sea bigger than the Manhattan Project, literally, of just wild testing of everything you could imagine going on, aluminum being one small part of it, but something that keeps rearing its ugly head. But your comments on that, G. Edward and Mr. Murphy.
Well, go ahead, Michael.
Well, I can address that. While we believe they're spraying much more than simply the aluminum, barium, and strontium, we just focused on what's being found, which is scary enough. And I'm going to go back to the ecological problems that they're seeing around the world. And then the health problems, of course, that have seen a major increase. With just addressing that, and we are just scratching the surface with the film. We're hoping that other people might address this and question it and look into it more deeply.
Oh, you more than scratch the surface. You show they admit they've been doing testing. Now they're proposing it and publicly, and then denying they're even doing testing when you put them on the hot seat.
Well, they absolutely are emphatically denying this. Stuart Howe, Jeremy Ross Michel, and myself were at the AAAS meeting, and we confronted them on the current deployment of these programs, and they flat out denied it. And then we finished the film in Washington, D.C., where Jeremy, Paul, and myself went, and we addressed over 35 members of Congress and senators, all who, for the most part, they were literally running from this issue in what appeared to be a cover-up. And we also addressed Bart Gordon, who is the chair of the Science and Tech Committee, who just completely eluded the question when we spoke to him about the current deployment. So,
well, and if somebody took from what I was saying that this film was only scratching the surface, this film is extremely deep and covers a whole bunch of key subjects. That's the point I was making. I'm drowning in it. I've been trying to make one for 2 years, and it's just so much evidence and so many different programs. I don't know where to start, so I salute you guys getting this film out so quickly.
Well, one of our decisions we had to make right up front is, how many issues or sub-issues do we cover in it? I kind of looked at each other and said, man, we'll never get it done if we try and cover every aspect of it. So that was a decision just to focus on the spraying part and the toxicity part. And a moment ago when I said they're lying to us about it, that's a pretty strong statement, and I don't make statements like that unless I'm prepared to back it up. And the two areas in which they're lying to us, one is that they deny that this is underway, and the other area is that they deny that they know anything about toxicity. On the film, you'll see one of these scientists say, well, we don't know if it's toxic. We haven't looked into that yet. And now we have the papers right on the internet that show that they have looked into it, and they found out it's terribly toxic. So they're lying to us.
Hold on, let's expand on that after the break. Long segment coming up.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
You've heard Alex explain how the